And welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com with you. And also Gary Stein is with us as always. Gary, how are you, my friend?
Good, my friend. How are you doing, Stanley?
I'm great. We got a young guy on the screen with us, and we're going to be talking to him in just a couple minutes, or actually about 15 seconds. His name is Rocco DiSangro. He is the new face of WBFF Fox 45 Sports. He's there as, am I right, Rocco? Second banana right now to Morgan Adsit?
Absolutely, yeah. She's top dog.
She's top dog. All right. We're going to find out how that is and a whole host of other things from Rocco in just a minute. First, got to tell you that we are brought to you in addition to the Costas Inn. We're brought to you by AJ Michaels, expert and award-winning AJ Michaels Heating, AC, Plumbing, and Home Performance will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. The AC season is coming up fast, supposed to be in the 90s perhaps next week. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. And I am Stan the Fan Charles, along with Gary Stein, and we welcome to Baltimore Rocco DiSangro. Rocco, first of all, did I pronounce the name correctly? And how long have you been in Baltimore?
Right on the money, Stan. Some people, they get me with DiSangro, DiSangria. They throw like the little wine last name in there a little bit, the Sangria. I get it. Sometimes on people's minds, but yeah, DiSangro, you got it right. And I've been in Baltimore. I think today, or it's this week, marks exactly a year. So it's been almost 365 days since I've been here. Yeah.
It's been, wow, that surprises me because you and I met about, I'm going to guess 6 weeks ago, something like that, out at Camden Yards. And I thought you had really, that shows you how much I watch 10 o'clock news. I thought you had really recently got to town because Bruce only retired like 3 months ago. Bruce Cunningham.
It seems like 3 months ago. I think he retired like last March, and then his position.
What?
Yeah, it's been like,
oh my God,
it's been a whirlwind of a year, and it's flown by like that, like snapping your fingers and it's gone. Yeah.
Wow. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, and where you got your start in this business.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm from Levittown, Pennsylvania. It's about 35 minutes, depending on traffic, give or take, outside of Philadelphia.
So you're an Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies fan.
I'm like 3 for 4. Yeah.
Who don't you root for?
Which one's the odd one out?
It's Sixers.
No. I'm diehard Sixers fan, diehard Flyers fan. Then the Phillies.
You're not so much a Phillies fan.
Not so much an Eagles fan. Not so much.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what it is.
Why though?
What?
Why?
My dad, he just didn't grow up an Eagles fan, and I kind of followed in his footsteps. So it's just like, here I am today.
So who does he root for? Is he a Steelers fan?
You're gonna make me say it? You're gonna
go ahead. Say
come to my house with the pitchforks?
Yep.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So
no, we'll just bump him out of here, Gary. We thank you for stopping in with us.
Throw eggs at him right now.
Yeah.
No, I own it. So I grew up in Cordell Stewart and Jerome Bettis jerseys as a kid. My dad, he had to deal with his dad though, and that's where the Steelers fanhood comes in because he's from Tacony, Pennsylvania, and that's in Philadelphia. So oddly enough, he's not an Eagles fan, and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, you kind of put me in black and gold. Like, well, what's the deal here? And he told me the story of when he was a young kid, he had to deal with his dad. If the Steelers I think it was the Steelers and Cowboys, if the Steelers got to the Super Bowl that year, his dad would take him to the Super Bowl. And so they ended up going to the Super Bowl. He was he's been a diehard Steelers fan from that day forward.
All right.
I was a Steelers fan. Like I got the terrible towel. I got the Palomalu and Ben Roethlisberger jerseys. But being here, I'll say this: being here has changed my perspective on football and everything else. Like I don't hate the Ravens. I cover the Ravens, and I really actually enjoy covering the team. But I did grow up a Steelers fan, and I still am to this day. I can't lie. I can't hide it. You guys put me on the spot.
Good for you. Good for you. So tell us, where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Temple University, and they have a phenomenal television program there. It's one of the best in the country. And I don't say that just because I went there. Just seeing the people that have come through and had successful careers going forward in this business, they've really paved the way. And you go into the studio at Temple. It's Temple Update is what I did. And they have Al Sports Update as well. I believe it's Studio 3. You see the pictures on the walls of everyone that has kind of came before you, and Kevin Nagandi's up there, and there's business cards in there of people that work in local TV, national TV, people that are producing, directing, editing, and it's so cool to see. And I'm so grateful for Temple. Those nights staying up until 2 a.m. in the tech center, cutting up tape for the show the next day, getting done with a basketball or football game. They've really paid off so far. And I'm so grateful to Peter Jaroff, Paul Gluck, George Cummings, all of the people, Matt Fine, all the people really at Temple within TUTV.
I can't lie to you and tell you I know Paul very well, Paul Gluck, but I know people like my cousin Ron, Matt's, Richard Scher. Paul used to work at WJZ for a long period of time.
Paul is the man.
Yeah, he is the man. I know that. Before I turn you over to Gary, who'll ask you the really hard-hitting questions. So where did you get your start before you got this gig? Because I'm assuming you started in a small radio station somewhere.
So I started, oddly enough, when you're looking for jobs out of college, and to any young people out there listening, watching, maybe tuning in who are trying to find their way in this business, I was looking through the top like 200 markets in TV, because that's really how many there are, 200 plus. And I was going to the bottom. At first, you're throwing out letters to ESPN thinking you're going to get a gig right out of college. And that's just not the case if you want to be on air. Like, they probably read my resume and said, ha, threw it out the window, and it is what it is. But I was just looking at small markets, and I was going to go anywhere from Anchorage, Alaska to Fargo, North Dakota, to Florida, small towns in Florida, to Dothan, Alabama. And Dothan, Alabama, I think it was market 182 is actually where I ended up. It was in that area. So, you know, market size, one is the top. It's New York, LA, and then the bottom, like 220, is like Anchorage, Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska. So Dothan was towards the very end. And what happened, I applied, I got the call. I was on the road. I pulled over, and I was so excited. I didn't know anything about the town or the city at the time, but I had a job. I ended up driving down there 14 hours in one night with my dad. And when we got to that hotel room, he face planted in his bed and I face planted in my bed. We were so exhausted, but it was so worth it. That's how I got my start.
Gary, go ahead.
So Rocco, let me ask you about that start. When you're at Temple and you're kind of in your element there, and you've got fellow students, there's a comfort level. You're all kind of in the same boat, etc. I don't think they really prepare you for what it's going to be like when you actually go out on the road and you get to that first real job. And now you've got to establish relationships and all that. So talk about that part of the process as opposed to the actual sports broadcasting part.
Gary, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I'm telling you what, Temple did prepare you as far as the TV goes, and being able to speak well on TV and getting all that stuff together up until you actually go on and that camera, that red light goes on and you have to talk in front of the camera. But I didn't know at the time I was going to have to move away thousands of miles away from my best friends, my family, both immediate and my aunts, uncles, cousins, my extended family as well. I had nobody down there. So when I moved down to Dothan, Alabama, I'm making $22,000 a year, my first job. And it was a whole different world. I had to kind of cut out cable. I had to make some sacrifices. I had to make new friends, meet new people. And that's really what I would tell anyone trying to break into this business is you're going to have to make sacrifices. It's, your friends are going to be doing their thing. And it's funny, like, an episode of like SpongeBob, which is funny, what I watched when I was a kid, when you got one guy looking out the window, watching everyone play and have fun. That was me in Dothan, watching my friends on social media, have fun, be together, go to Sixers games, go to Phillies games. And I'm grinding.
You weren't there. Yeah.
No, I had to either fly out of Dothan or drive 3 hours to Atlanta, and flights were not cheap from there back to Philadelphia. So definitely a lot of sacrifices they don't really tell you about. Living on your own for the first time at 22 years old, I had no clue. I couldn't just go home and say, hey, mom, dad, I need help with something. Like, I had to kind of figure it out on my own, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. And there are some nights where you'll beat yourself up, but I've made it this far, so I'm going to try to keep trucking along.
So wait, so you were 22, right? And now you're 29. So in
Yeah.
7 years, basically, you've gone from Dothan, Alabama to Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sure that you had some kind of, and maybe this is not true, so tell me, but if you had a timeline in mind of where you wanted to be at a certain age, are you hitting that timeline, ahead of the timeline? What was the timeline?
The timeline was by like 30 to 35 to be back home in Philadelphia. But don't get me wrong, I love Baltimore and I'm falling in love with this city. Like, the people here,
Everybody does.
teams, the fan bases, they're so passionate. Like, going to Ravens games is incredible. The atmosphere, you don't get that a lot of places. Going over to Camden Yards when it's packed in and there are 40,000 plus people in the stands, that atmosphere is just absolutely incredible. Looking at the ballpark, the view never gets old. But timeline wise, I don't know, because you get caught up in comparing yourself so much to other people in this business. And it's like a disease sometimes, because you look at what other people are doing and how well they're progressing along. And you got to tell yourself sometimes you got to take a step back, pump the brakes and say, hey, like, you're doing great. Everyone has their own journey. This person may have been doing TV since they were 12 years old and they were doing a local TV station or doing something in their front yard and they got the experience. Whereas I didn't start. I went to community college for 2 years, then went to Temple. So I didn't get a start until maybe like 20 or 21 on camera on local TV. So 7 years in the business, I feel pretty good now. If you were to ask me back then, I probably would have thought I was going to be at like ESPN or a national network by now, but that remains to be seen. I still have a ton of work to do, like so much work to do to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
How much different is it just being 85 miles from Philly, from fans, from friends and family, than being 1,000 miles away? It must be all the difference in the world to you, Rocco.
Oh, Stan, it is awesome, man. It's so great to have my parents to be able to come down for holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, anything, you name it. Whereas they weren't able to do that. It wasn't a stone's throw away from Philadelphia. So there were so many holidays that I've missed out on over the years. Thanksgivings, Christmases, like I said, because you think Alabama, the Iron Bowl is usually Thanksgiving weekend. So I hadn't had home cooked turkey from my mom in like 6 years. She brought it down to Baltimore last Thanksgiving, and I was in heaven, man. I was loving it. So it's so great. It makes all the difference in the world to be able to spend time with my family, because I'm a family first type of guy. And for my friends to come down because my off days are a little weird. I have off Monday, Tuesday, so not everyone has that. But when they're able to come down, they do. We have a good time, and we really enjoy it. And I try to sell everyone on this city. I'm like, Baltimore's great. Come down more often. We'll go out. We'll have a good time. We'll get some good food. And yeah, it's great.
Rocco, you worked in Gotham, and then I know you worked in, I think it was Huntsville, right?
Yep.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Sure.
So you got to cover Alabama football, I'm guessing. So it gave you your taste of the big time. But all kidding aside, you're in Baltimore now. You cover the Ravens. You probably just had your first Preakness Saturday. You're covering the Orioles in a pennant race. But the job's really not that much different, is it, between telling stories in Baltimore and telling the local stories in Gotham?
It's really not. It's the thing about it is the biggest difference is pro sports. You have the Ravens, you have the Orioles. I didn't have that in Alabama. Pro sports did not exist, but Alabama, they treated their football program like professional football team. The way Nick Saban runs his program it's crazy in a good way. I mean, the guy's a winner, and the winningest national championship wise college football coach for a reason. I mean, it's next level what he's able to do. So Alabama, Auburn, it was great covering both of those schools, because you got to mention Auburn, because the Auburn fans, War Eagle, they'll get very, very upset. And the craziness and the passion, if we didn't mention one school, but we mentioned the other school, I would get an email like that. Like, it would be, I'm telling you, the next minute, I would get an angry email from a viewer saying, you're so biased toward, towards Auburn, towards Alabama. If you haven't gone to a game in SEC country and you haven't gone to an Iron Bowl, it's got to be on your bucket list, because that is craziness, but in a good way. But yeah, the difference, pro sports, I love it up here. My first dose of the Preakness, it was an awesome atmosphere. The thing I kind of wanted to bring up here from Huntsville, because they care so much about high school sports. Here, it's high school sports seems to kind of, not at this station, but in general, high school sports kind of takes a back seat local TV wise. And we brought back Prep Player of the Week. Bruce Cunningham was doing it before he retired, and it stopped for a little bit. And a coach hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I think you should bring this back." So we did. And that's one of my favorite things to really do, is the high school aspect, even in a pro market, to still have that, because some of these kids, they're not going to play that sport for the rest of their life. This might be it for them. And it's really cool to see.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a great experience with high school sports. That was how I cut my teeth in this town 35 years ago. I used to do a weekly show called City Sports Scene. We used to do high school games, football, basketball. It may not be as front and center as it is in Alabama, and it's certainly not in Texas, California, Florida, etc. But high school sports is important here, especially the basketball. Football's up there too. But give it a shot. And I think what you're doing at Channel 45, bringing back the weekly award, et cetera, is important. There's a very loyal, dedicated, and larger than you think high school fandom here in town. So keep up the good work on that. But I wanted to ask you something. Like, when you were down in Alabama, okay, you didn't really have a horse in the race as it was. And what I'm saying is, I don't know if you like Alabama or Auburn or not. Maybe you didn't even think about them when you were a kid growing up in Philly. But now you're here in Baltimore, and you said you're a Steelers fan from back in the day, and the Ravens and the Steelers go, head to head all the time. So my question is, there's Rocco the fan and there's Rocco the reporter, right? So have you been able to kind of separate the two of them and just, I don't know, maybe have a different mindset, Rocco the professional versus Rocco the fan?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't, like, the Steelers aren't paying me to root for them, and the Ravens aren't paying me to cover them, but I am getting paid to cover and talk about the Baltimore Ravens. And I want to immerse myself in this community. Yeah, I'm shy to tell people I'm a Steelers fan, because I'm not sure how they're going to take it here in Baltimore. And I was very hesitant to say that at first, because I was just scared about how I would get the reception I would get with that.
You're better off being truthful with your people.
Yeah. So I kept it under wraps. I didn't lie about it. I just told you guys.
We just won't have you back on again.
Come on, man. You can't do that. But Rocco the reporter is like, when I was sitting up there for the game when the Steelers beat the Ravens, I didn't cheer. I didn't make a peep. I was like, okay, this is a great game to be at regardless. When the Steelers when Kenny Pickett hit Najee Harris to win the game, it was a big game. Sunday night, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday night, but that game, it was like years ago, I probably would have been clapping, what you're not allowed to do in the press box is clapping. But like now, it's like, I want the Ravens to win so badly, not only for the city, not only for the fan base, but because I kind of get to reap those benefits as well. If they go to the playoffs, more than likely, I'm going to get to travel with the team. Why would I want the team to lose any game if that's going to be the case? If I get to go travel with them, cover them. And a lot of these guys you see in the locker rooms, you build bonds with. Why am I going to root for the Ravens to lose? Now, back in the day, when it was like the rivalries, like butting heads, and I'm not going to say it's teetered off, but it's not the Roethlisberger, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, like those guys, like the absolute hatred now. The fan bases, I know they still don't like each other, but I love Ravens fans, and they've been nothing but great to me. And I actually spoke with a group of Ravens fans a few weeks ago in Sykesville, and they were super awesome. And I told them that, and they were super receptive. They were just like, "Get out of here," but they were like, "All right, you're cool. So it's definitely a difference between the fan and the reporter. Like, I cheer at home. When I'm the reporter, I do not at all.
Let me take a time out of here to pay the bills here on this show. We're brought to you by the Costas Inn. And I got to tell you, I'm hearing that crabs are harder than ever to get this spring, because it's been a cool spring. If you want to have your first crabs of the season, you got to have a little bit of a plan and plan ahead. Call 410-477-1975. That's 410-477-1975 to go to the Costas Inn for the very best in steamed crabs. They got great crab cakes. They send them all over the world. They also have great crab soup, whole host of other specials. Costas Inn should be number one on your list. And if you want to eat crabs, call in advance to reserve your crabs. They'll go over the whole pricing structure of what different size crabs cost. It's Costas Inn, 410-477-1975. Have you eaten your first crabs in town?
Yeah, I actually have. One of my friends came up from Alabama, and he's like, I never even really thought of this. I mean, I knew how big crabs were when I got here,
Right.
but I was looking at the crab cakes. But he's like, dude, we got to do the crabs on the table. He's like, I will not be coming up there if we're not doing crabs on the table. So I'm like, buddy, it's like January or February. Like crabs really aren't in season right now as far as like the good
Yeah,
ones.
they're in season all year round.
Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, but I was told, I'm like, don't go during these months, go during these months because they're better. And so I'm like, all right. So we went over actually to LP Steamers.
Right.
Him and I did, and we got like everything. I think it was the crabs, the scallops, just like the shrimp, the whole combo. And it was unbelievable with the Old Bay on it too. I was blown away. Cut my fingers a little bit, but that's expected, right? I did it right. If I did that right.
You got your badge of honor. You got your badge of honor. We'll have to get you out to the Costas Inn sometime. Hey, you work with you took essentially the job Bruce Cunningham had when he retired. Morgan moved up to be the numero uno. You're in as number two. What's it like working with Morgan? Does Bruce still come around once in a while to pop his face in there?
Bruce, actually, he stopped in, I think a few weeks ago, and we had a good conversation, and he's like, I got an opening on my radio show at 10:30. I think I spoke with him this Monday, and we were just talking about life, and I've been on a few times, and he's been awesome, just welcoming me to Baltimore, having me, on the radio show. And we really don't even talk sports when we get on the radio show. We just talk about life, and that's what I love so much about it. And that's what I love so much about this. You guys we're just talking about life here in Baltimore and just how it's been. But Bruce has been awesome. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's hard in the business to kind of follow a legend, because as far as the receptiveness goes, like we talked about the reception you're going to get, and Bruce talked about when he got the 10, I didn't know how people were going to react when I popped my face on the air for the first time. I got the baby face. So like they're used to Bruce, the mustache, and then they get me. I'm clean shaven, don't have facial hair in sight. I don't even know if I could grow a beard or a mustache. And they're like who's this young idiot stepping on our air right now? Like who's this guy? But
and what's it been like working with Morgan?
Oh, it's been great. I was just about to get to that. Morgan has been fantastic. When I got in, Morgan the way she carries herself on air, off air, she's awesome to be around, and she's super helpful. And her guidance and helping me out like along the way with connections, with certain things, like if something's wrong in the script here or there, she'll call it out, but in a nice way. She'll be like, hey, like let's make sure that's fixed, something along those lines. But she's super professional. She's awesome. I mean, we have really good conversations on air, off air, and she's really truly awesome to work with. So I want to thank Morgan for welcoming me the way she has, because she didn't have to. She could have been like, whatever. But like, she hasn't been at all. She's been great.
My last question for you, and then Gary will have one or two more. How was your first Preakness? I know you glossed over. You said you went, you probably hadn't had a lot of experience covering horse racing before, but what was it like? That's probably, I know you've covered a lot of big Alabama games, but it may be for national importance, the biggest story you've ever covered.
I was so excited to get over there. And when I walked out, because I'd gone over there Thursday to do a live preview, track was empty. Friday got a little bit of a taste because of the Black-Eyed
Susan Day.
Yeah. So there were more fans in the stands, and they were decked out with the hats and the outfits. And then Preakness Day was awesome. It was just like the who's who of Baltimore and the surrounding area. in town, you had Ravens players, Commanders players, just everyone was there. And it was so cool to see. And I had never really, like you said, it might have been the biggest national sports thing I've covered since I started in the business. But it was cool to see the horses go around the track. It was cool to see the people that were there. I wish I would have like bought like a cool hat and like worn that. Next year I'll be prepared.
You'll know next year. You'll know next year.
I'm coming with like a nice like Carolina blue suit, because that seemed to be like the color that all the guys were wearing, with like the flat brim like hat that goes around. I don't know what they're called, but like, you know, one of those hats. Like I'm definitely like, when you see me next
Like
year,
like a pimp hat. Like a pimp hat.
Whatever you want to call it, man.
Gary, you want to ask him a couple more, and then we'll let him get out of here, and we'll go watch the Oriole
if I
game.
can follow up on that pimp hat comment, that's something else. But, Rocco, final question, and you know, I think I experienced this when I was your age, and I started in the business 30 years ago, and I think it would be quite natural. I'm curious about your opinion. It's the concept of imposter syndrome. You know, you're young, right? You're not just out of college, but it's basically your second or third job out of college. And you just said, like, there you were at Preakness a few days ago with all the heavyweights, the political heavyweights, the athletic heavyweights, etc. And here you are, 29-year-old, a pitcher, Rocco from Philadelphia, right? So I just wonder, in the back of your mind, do you ever, and I know a lot of people, young people do this, do you ever encounter in a private moment, like imposter syndrome? Is this really me? Like, am I gaining the trust of people? Like, what am I here? You know?
Gary, I beat myself up every night I get off air if I make a mistake, or if I'm somewhere and I don't necessarily, like, if I'm watching or at Preakness and I don't know something, I will beat myself up a little bit about that. And I'm like, why didn't I know this? Or why did I mess up here? So to your point, yeah, a little bit. I experienced that for sure. And I want to come off as knowledgeable. I don't want to come off as a know-it-all, because I definitely don't know it all. It's my first year here in Baltimore. I know the history. I know how great this place is from a sports scene and from a regular scene in general. But there's so much I have to learn, and so much information that I have to continue to gather as time goes on. And I will, but to your point, like it does happen sometimes where I'm like, I don't know how to put it into words, but definitely.
So I'm going to give you 2 words of advice, okay? And I had a conversation with John Harbaugh about this a while ago.
Yeah.
You know what to do? Keep playing.
Yeah.
Just keep playing. You'll get the knowledge. You'll get everything that you need to get. And who knows? You may be here forever. You may be here for whatever. It doesn't matter. No matter where you are, keep playing, okay? And as long as you keep playing, you will get there.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Good advice. Good advice. Hey, Rocco, one last thing from me. I know you sat next to me up in the press box, and Mark Viviano's next to you.
Yeah.
And I know you probably have met Pete Gilbert, and all the other guys, Sean Stepner. How have you been welcomed by the fraternity of the guys and gals that do what you do?
Everyone has been awesome. I haven't had a bad run in, and I'm completely honest. Like, I wouldn't be lying to you guys if I did. Like, I would tell you straight up, like, yeah, I had a bad experience here or there. Everyone in this business, you look at a movie like Anchorman, when they're all fighting, they're all trying to like get each other with, the battle scene. And it's funny because that's really how local TV used to be, I feel like. And now we're all trying to do the same job. Yeah, we're definitely trying to compete and be the best at what we do. And it's a ratings game. I know that, but I genuinely like everyone that I've encountered or I've worked with, whether it's the beat writers at the Orioles or the Ravens, whether it's the TV guys, like you mentioned, you got Sean, Jerry, Pete, Viv, like everyone has been so welcoming from the moment I got here. I remember when John Harbaugh does his off the record, Mark Viviano, who works obviously for the competitor station, he didn't have to do this with CBS. He comes up, he's like, Rocco, have you met John Harbaugh yet? And I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, let me go up and introduce you to him. And
That's
Harbaugh
really nice.
had to go to a meeting, but like the fact that he did that and went out of his way, and he had live shots to do, he had phone calls to make, he didn't have to do that. So for him to do that, for everyone that has been here in local TV to do that, for you guys to have me on. Like, this is really like what it's all about. The brotherhood, the sisterhood, the fraternity that really is here in Baltimore within the sports media. I don't think there's a bad person out there, truly.
I agree.
There is. We won't tell you about him just yet.
You'll find out.
You'll find out. You'll find out. Hey, Rocco, thank you for doing this, and we'll grab you again down the road a little bit.
Awesome.
We'll get into football season. All right.
Thank you guys so much. I really look forward to it. Please
Tell folks how they can follow you, and when are you on that they can see you.
So I'm probably the most active on Twitter out of all the social media apps. I use all social media, but it's at Rocco DiSangro on Twitter. And then I'll be on, usually tomorrow I'll be on 5:50, 10:50, and around like 11:20 or 30, like right towards the end of the newscast is when I come on with sports. So
is it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
I am on. My only off days are Monday, Tuesday, but when I'm not on, be sure to watch Morgan. She does a fantastic job.
All right. We will. Again, it's Fox 45
Thanks, Rock.
WBAFF. We really appreciate Rocco joining us. Gary, we've got an open week next week. We'll plug it in with somebody. I've got an invite into somebody right now and working on that. All right.
You got it,
we
my man.
We won't be on. Ross and I and Luke won't be on this Monday because of the holiday. All right. But we'll be back next Thursday. Again, thanks to Rocco DiSangro.
Thank you.
I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and he's Gary Stein, and we are out of here. Go watch the Oriole game. Bye.
You got it.